Hello, brothers and sisters. It's a new week. We have a lot of news for you today. The French Empire is collapsing. The house of Charles de Gaulle is collapsing. That's the main story we're going to tell you today. We've been talking about France, the tricks France uses. France is like an octopus. They try to change their size, their form, their camouflage, but their intentions are the same. They want to continue being a predator in Africa. They prey on African nations. The African nation state is a very weak concoction. So France doesn't want to leave Africa. Since the early 1960s, most colonial forces and countries have abandoned colonialism. France is the last standing colonialist in Africa. They don't want to leave. They will change their pattern. They will say, oh yes, we're leaving. They will tell them, because France does not only colonize Africa using the CFA, franc, currency. They also use their military bases. Since many African countries that were former French colonies signed a pact for continued colonization, France has been using military bases to project their military power in Africa. Now we can categorize those military bases in three categories: active, reduce, and close. In most of those countries in the Sahel, like AES, Alliance des États du Sahel, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, those French bases, military bases, have been closed. And that's a victory for the people of Africa, the young people of Africa. Burkina Faso fought very hard, all the coup d'etats, to get rid of those French bases, because Operation Barkhane, which was instituted under the pretext of fighting terrorism, has failed. So you keep asking me, why is it that France is losing ground in Africa? Well, there are four reasons why France is losing ground in Africa. Number one, the African youth in a lot of countries, which we're going to give you examples: Cameroon, Benin, Central African Republic, Ivory Coast, they are having anti-French sentiments. They don't like what French colonialism has done to their countries. France has destroyed their countries. France has been seizing all their wealth, their natural resources, giving them nothing in return. You take a country like Niger. Niger's uranium is the power that lightens the entire France. When they say France is a country of lights, the light comes from Niger. Yet, Niger gets very little in exchange. So under General Abdurrahman Touani, that has changed. So the country now is struggling to rebuild after so many years of French exploitation. And you think this will end? No. France will say we're leaving, but they are not leaving. When are they going to say final farewell to Africa? France will say, yes, we're saying final farewell, then they'll turn around and come back again through the back door. So they don't want to leave. That's basically what we've been telling you. And we're going to use the example of Benin, which is very close to Nigeria, to show you the way France is very, very active and the way France intervenes in Africa's affairs. So don't be fooled. On this channel, we give you the news that a lot of other channels don't give you. We read French, we speak French, so we know exactly what is happening in the French world. We read all the French newspapers, like Jeune Afrique, Radio France Internationale. We watch all those French stations and TV stations, radio, TV, everything. RFI, we read everything there. Le Monde, we read the French newspapers. So we know all the stories, and we're here to share them with you. So when you start looking at most of these French bases, which are used to project power, you ask yourself, if African countries are sovereign, why are they allowing military bases on their soil? Have you seen America allow Kenya to set up a military base in the United States? No. But African countries always fall prey to these colonial forces. They allow them to set up shop. We said they have changed. You have the active bases, the closed bases, and the reduced bases. In Senegal, you have an example where the bases have been reduced. Since Ousmane Sanko and Diomaye Faye came into power, they fought for France to reduce its footprints in Senegal. Similarly, Chad, which has also been a French colony, decided that they should close those bases in Chad. Ivory Coast has closed some, but Ivory Coast maintains active bases for France. Because, as you can see, in the example of the coup d'etat that was foiled in Benin, Alassane Ouattara had to intervene. Then Nigeria, under Bola Tinubu, also have to intervene. It is interesting. Nigeria is not really a former French colony. But you ask yourself, why is Bola Tinubu working for the French? Bola Tinubu should be working for Nigeria. The way, as Donald Trump says it, you work for your country. Why is Bola Tinubu working for a foreign power? Nigeria is having serious security challenges. Nigeria does not go after the terrorists, but Nigeria has the military that will go after the forces that are organizing a coup d'etat in Benin. And that's why a lot of Nigerians are asking me, Prince Ojong, how can this be? Bola Tinubu keeps sleeping. He doesn't go after Boko Haram insurgents, but he has the time and the resources to go after coup planners in Benin. How can that be? Well, that's the way you see most African leaders. They have misplaced priorities. Instead of prioritizing the citizens of their country, they only go in to get what they can get for themselves. As you can see, Bola Tinubu spends a lot of time in France, even when he's on vacation. Instead of going to Britain, he goes back to France. Most of the other European countries have said goodbye to colonization. But France does not want to let African countries go. France is like an octopus. France is like a hydra. France is like a satanic serpent that constricts African countries. They constrict its prey until it suffocates and dies. That's what France is doing to African countries. And which is why the African youth are very, very angry. They are angry with what they see France do to their countries. We're going to show you examples like in Cameroon, Benin, Central African Republic, Congo DRC, okay, Ivory Coast. You see, they are just unhappy with the role that France is playing. Then you have countries like Djibouti. Djibouti is the paradise of colonial powers. France has military bases in Djibouti. The USA has military bases in Djibouti. Then Russia, China, they all have military presence in Djibouti. Then you say to yourself, how can a country like this offer its country for sale? Mohammed, the king of Djibouti, he's the one enjoying. He collects money from all these foreign powers. So before anything can happen in Africa, it's easy for these colonial forces to project military power because they are right there in Djibouti. You look at the Pacific Ocean. They are right there. They are not far. They are right there. They can just sprint, pop, and they do something. So it's very, very easy. Okay? Then, of course, you look at Cameroon, which we're going to start our show with. Cameroon is probably the last leg of Francafrique in Africa. Paul Biya is their, what they call Meilleur élève, the best student. He cannot walk, he cannot do much, but he remains there. People will ask me, Prince Ojong, how can a guy who is not able to walk continue to stay in power? It is because he's propped up militarily by France. So whenever people try to rise against him, France intervenes. Even when you look at the war in Ambazonia, France has been providing Paul Biya with the weapons he uses to kill the people of Ambazonia. They have been fighting this war since 2016, and there is no relent. You ask yourself, when is France going to see that this war is sapping the blood of Cameroonians and the people of Ambazonia? France doesn't care. France only cares about resources. France cares about the oil. And you can see, like this week, we saw an accident that happened in Likumba, a town not far from Tiko. So many newspapers have covered this story. Then you ask yourself, why did this happen? It happened because the driver who was carrying an oil tanker from Limbe got to Tico. While going towards Likumba, he said he had a brake malfunction, so he could not stop his vehicle. So the truck just slammed into other cars, exploded, then the gas caught fire. Over 10 people have died. Many houses have burned to ashes. Many cars have burned to ashes. So it's a very serious accident. We even saw pictures of Paul Biya's military guys running away. They were afraid of death. So instead of sitting there to protect the people, to try to put out the fire, the soldiers were running away. And the population was showing us pictures of soldiers running away. So these are cowards. Okay, these are cowards. They know how to kill civilians, but when there is something that they can do to protect the people, they cannot do. They run for their lives. Those are cowards. But you see, so many stories have been covered concerning this oil spill and serious accident. Why can the French not provide better transportation? The roads are so bad. They exploit most of these areas in Cameroon. You think that they'll compensate the areas with good roads? No. They just want to get the oil, get it to France. That's it. So they don't care whether the roads are terrible and the people are suffering on those roads. So they don't even know that accidents like this are going to cost them a whole lot of money too. Because just imagine the accident that happened with this oil tanker. It's true, many Cameroonians lost their lives, but the owners of this oil are also losing a whole lot of money. So I can tell you, they lost a lot of money. And that's it. But you see, even with this loss, you think that the French will come to their senses and try to do things to help the Cameroonian people. No. France only cares for France's interests. They don't care for Africans. Africans are second-class citizens. So they are slaves. So France doesn't care about them. Which is why you see that there is a lot of anti-French sentiment in Cameroon. The coup d'etat happened in the Sahel. It will happen in Cameroon too. We keep talking about it. We say, oh, you keep talking about it, it never happens. But it's coming. It's coming. Because already, whenever you make democracy impossible, you make dictatorship and coups possible. That's basically what we can tell you. Coups have a simple formula. Coups grow where there is bad governance. Whenever there is bad governance, you're creating a fertile ground for coups to germinate like plants. They will grow where there is fertile soil. The fertile soil is bad governance. That's what we should tell you. And Cameroon is really such a fertile soil. Since the October 12th elections, the elections were a sham. They were fake. Before the elections were organized, they already knew that Paul Biya has to win. Even though Issa Chiroma won, but they did not allow him to take over. So you can see now that when you hijack democracy, then you expect coups not to happen, and you expect the people to just be peaceful. We don't think so. In the example of Cameroon, the leaders are really deceiving themselves. We'll see what is happening. Issa Chiroma understands the country very well. He knows the strengths of the system and he knows the weaknesses of the system. He's going to test the weakness of this system to the limit. And he's doing that already. Some people are already thinking that far from the comfort of Gambia, he's not going to be able to do anything. That's a lie. Issa Chiroma is planning. Silence is pregnant. The silence has a lot of meaning. Some people think that nothing is happening. A lot is happening. There are secret negotiations taking place already in Banjul between Issa Chiroma and some of the European powers. We've gotten that information and we're sharing it with you. So don't mistake Issa Chiroma's silence for inaction. No. The future of Cameroon is already being negotiated. The foreign powers who control Cameroon, they know that the Biya era is coming to an end. Biya doesn't run anything. Biya doesn't manage anything. Chantal Biya is the person who is the de facto president, Madame la Présidente. Then she's using Ferdinand Gongo as her vice president. She tells Ferdinand Gongo what to do, and all the ministers take their orders, les hautes instructions from Ferdinand Gongo. That's the way Chantal is running the country. And people laugh. We thought Ferdinand Gongo is going to be out during the next cabinet reshuffle. Not really. Paul Biya, I think on the 11th of December, Paul Biya just reaffirmed his confidence in Ferdinand Gongo. Why would you think otherwise? That papa liked Toto, so what will happen? Je vais pas que ma femme parte. He's afraid that his wife will run away. So whatever Chantal Biya wants, Biya lets her have it. Even though the people have been complaining about Ferdinand Gongo, his corruption, stealing money for COVID, stealing money for football, Paul Biya doesn't care. So long as there is peace in his home, he wants to please Chantal. He is an old guy, over 93, but he still wants to keep his wife happy. Sometimes Chantal will run away and say, okay, no, if you don't do this, I'm going to leave this marriage. Okay, just play games with the old man, and the old man says, okay, let me go and bring my wife. I will accept what she wants. This is a joke, but a country is held hostage by a common girl. You ask yourself, Chantal does not have any qualifications to run Cameroon, but because of female wiles, she's using those assets to actually run Cameroon. Chantal doesn't have any education that permits her to run a country like Cameroon. But because she's married to Paul Biya, she's now able to run Cameroon. And I used to say this, some people would think it was a joke. Now they are saying things for real. Ferdinand Gongo is Chantal's boy. He will continue to run the country while Biya is waiting to kick the bucket. Biya wants to die as the president of Cameroon. So now a lot is happening. Biya doesn't want to give up. They have been arresting a lot of people. Over 3,000 people have been arrested. Some of them have been killed, just like George Ainsi Ekane and others. George Ainsi Ekane is the most pronounced name, but many others have been killed too. Whenever you are a threat, they kill you. Those who have been released are those are not perceived to be threats to the regime. Most of those opposition figures who are perceived to be threats to the regime are killed. They are killed summarily, no judgment, no court process, no due process. Okay? Because it's a banana republic. That's what we get. Even Aijo's daughter, Aminatu, we hear she's manipulating also to get a position in the new government. Now that Paul Biya has reaffirmed that he is confident in Ferdinand Gongo, probably the cabinet reshuffle may come anytime soon. But at the same time, beware the eyes of the Gambia. The news may not be good. You saw what is happening with the truck drivers in the north, right? Those northern guys, it looks like the Fulanese. They are supporting Issa Chiroma 100%. So you may think that Issa Chiroma is weak. They are supporting him 100%. So be very, very careful. Then, of course, you see what is happening in Benin. A coup d'etat was foiled in Benin as a result of the interaction between France and Nigeria. Nigeria was working behind the scenes. Emmanuel Macron was pulling the strings. So you see now that France has not left Africa. France is still there. France is struggling with other world forces to take whatever resources Africa has. So France is not going to leave. So the Benin coup has been covered extensively. But you need to know that the footprints of France are everywhere in that coup d'etat. Patrice Talon was communicating with Emmanuel Macron daily while the coup was unfolding. So Emmanuel Macron sent special French forces to come and quell this coup. So even though you see that Nigeria figured in the whole drama, the power behind Nigeria's power is France. Bola Tinubu was simply using France as a game. France was really the power with the military and the intelligence to quell this coup. A lot of people were killed because the French had to bomb the hideouts of most of the coup plotters. May a lot of people who died, may their souls actually rest in peace, because there was a lot of bloodshed. Then what about Central African Republic? Well, an election is coming soon, but why the election? Ashanti Twadera is running for a third term. He's going to win because the election is a sham election. We know that already. Then what about Gabon? Gabon is already a French puppet, so we know that there's nothing we need to worry about that. Send soldiers to help Patrice Talon. But so many people were arrested. Even our popular guy, Kemi Seba, who is a guy who is also an activist. He was talking in favor of the coup. When the coup was foiled, now the Benin government is looking for him. So are they going to arrest him? Okay, he supports Russia, and he's very critical of the French government. So we know he's going to be in trouble. But these people are making it difficult for freedom fighters and for activists to speak. So what is going to happen? Well, they cannot really stop people from speaking, so the people will continue fighting for freedom. So we can tell you that. Nigeria is making a mistake. Nigerians are hoping that Bola Tinubu should focus on the security challenges Nigeria faces. He should not be wasting time working for France. Now that he wants to run again in 2027, Nigerians should ask themselves, is he going to be running to help France, or is he going to be running to help Nigeria? That's a choice for Nigerians to make. We think we've brought a lot of the issues. The French presence, French has a government that is a predator. Predatory practices are very common with this Emmanuel Macron government. People were thinking that he has a baby face, maybe he's going to be different from de Gaulle and the other French president. No, he has a baby face, but it's just the same. The policies are the same, they have not changed. The goal of the French policy of Franc-Afrique is to exploit Africa. Simple. They put puppet presidents. Even in Benin, when you look at what is happening, Patrice Talon has abused democratic principles. He did not want the party of Yaya Boni to stand for re-election. He has already chosen his successor. So where is democracy? When you make democracy impossible, you make coup d'etats possible. This time, France has saved Patrice Talon. He has a long way to go. We know he's supposed to hand over power in April 2026. But before then, we can tell you another coup is going to take place in Benin. Mark my words. It's not done. Because when the people are dead set on freeing themselves, they're going to organize the coup d'etat. Is that not the same thing that happened in Gabon? When the coup was foiled, later on, another coup came, right? So coups will always come. If we want to prevent coups in Africa, then we'll have to change our systems of governance. We'll have to have more transparency. We cannot have banana republics piloted by colonial forces from France. Then you think the people will be happy with that arrangement. No, the people are not going to be happy with that arrangement. So you continue having the nationalistic fervor from the African youth who want freedom, sovereignty for their countries. So long as France remains in Africa, the people will continue protesting and looking for ways to overthrow their governments. So if you think you're a French puppet, your days are numbered, the people are going to come for you. And that's the message we have for you in this video. The African people have come of age. They have decided to throw away the yoke of oppression. They want to be free. They want Africa's resources to be for Africans. Africa for Africans. That's the message. So please watch this video, share it with your friends, share, and share. May God bless you.
Selling a service or a product? Need buyers? Use the African Nation TV as a channel to reach many viewers. Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131. Act today.